What's up everyone, and welcome back to another video. This morning we are doing some data logging, and I'm going to take you along for the ride just to kind of show you how I do it. Yeah, we're just doing the initial logs for the tuner so that I can get them sent over to him, and then he can start making revisions on those, and so that he can make sure that the car and the engine are healthy, and so that way we can start doing some wide open throttle logging, and he can really get things dialed in and turn up the boost. So yeah, basically what I have here to show you is I have my Tactrix cable. It's hooked in down there into my OBD2 ports. I have the Romraider logger software open. As you can see, it is working because the numbers are kind of shifting around as it idles here. The car is all warmed up. I have all my list of logs right here that I'm doing. We're gonna start with these light cruising ones at steady speed at 40, 50, 60, and 70 miles per hour, 8 to 10 seconds each. We'll move on from there. I have it set up to enable my defroster switch right here. So when I hit that button, it starts the log over here. So I can hit it, kind of cruise for 10 seconds, hit it again, and it'll stop the log. So I'll show you that in just a sec. All right, so we're just gonna get up to speed here. So we're right at 40. I'm gonna shift to fourth and then hit the button. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's it. That was one log. I like to label all of the files so that I know where I'm at. So I'll just show you here. Those are my idle logs. This was the 40 miles per hour steady state log that I just did. So what I like to do is just name these as I go. So stop, pull over, name it. I'll name it like cruising 40 miles per hour. That way when I send them to the tuner, he won't be confused as to what he's looking at. All right, we just did another one, cruising a little faster. And now I'm gonna go jump on the highway so we can get the ones at 60 and 70. And then we'll have to step it up to do a little light acceleration, which should be fun. All right, guys, so I did I finished up the light cruising on the highway. I didn't film it because it's pretty boring. So now we're gonna do some light acceleration logs, 2 to 3 logs from a stop, shifting 1 through 4, keeping it below 4,000 RPM. So basically you just like want to accelerate up to 70 miles per hour at like 20 to 30% throttle. I'm gonna start it. That's it for now. I'm gonna get these logs sent over to the tuner and see what he thinks. I can't wait for him to turn up the boost. All right, guys, so little update here. I did get the first revision back from the tuner. He said everything looks pretty good. The only issue that he saw was we're burning a lot of fuel at idle. So he said to check the outlet hose coming off the turbo between that and the intercooler. I did do that. It looks to be good to me. And he also recommended maybe trying to clean the MAF sensor as well. So we'll do that. He did give me another map to load on there and try, and then I can log the idle again, and he gave me the parameters to check to see if it's still burning a lot of fuel. So I'm gonna do that now. We'll load that map on there. I'll show you how I use ECU flash to flash a new map, and we'll see if that fixes it. All right, we're gonna clean the map sensor now with some electronic cleaner, sensor cleaner. I'm just gonna spray that bad boy. We'll just let that dry fully before we put it back on. I'm gonna plug in my Tactrix cable here into the OBD2 port, right under here. Okay, open up ECU flash right here. And it says down there on the bottom, you can see 2005, 2007, 2005, 2006 Subaru WRX STI, blah, 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 blah. So it recognizes the car. Open our new map by selecting Open ROM, and then we will find it. It's right there. Click Open. Right, currently loaded ROM. So you click that. Now it's gonna tell you turn ignition, or if your ignition's already on, blah, blah, blah. Need to connect the green test mode connectors that are underneath. They're right underneath there. If you just look up underneath, you'll find them. All right, so now what it wants you to do is you turn it to the on position and basically hit that OK button at the exact same time. Working, because it says it's entering flash mode, starts writing a bunch of stuff to the ECU. You always want to make sure your laptop is charged. Boom, it's done. So now we're good. We just need to unconnect the green test mode connectors again. All right, so let's take a look at this. It definitely looks dry. That stuff dries really quick too, so should be fine to throw it back in. All right, let's fire it up with the new map flashed on there. See how she responds. Whenever you flash a new map to your ECU, especially like this is a thing on Subarus apparently, these take a long time to idle relearn. You should always let it idle relearn with the hood up so there's less heat soak for at least 10 minutes once it's warmed up. So once your RPMs kind of drop to that like 900 range, you should let it sit there for probably 10 minutes so it has time to relearn all the new parameters that have been set on the map. All right, so I've been letting it idle relearn for a while, and you can see it's still pretty rich at idle. All right, guys, so the results of the logs are not ideal. You can see right there, we have air fuel correction 1, air fuel learning 1. Both of these are all -25 and 0. That is not what we want. We want them to be between 5 to 10% each. So yeah, I let the tuner know. He told me to check for leaks. So we're gonna do that now. I find it hard to believe that there are any, but there could be. I mean, he knows more than I do. So if he thinks it's leaking based off the data, he's probably right. All right, guys, so we are back in the shop after letting the car cool down. I think what I'm gonna do now that I can get in there and not burn myself, I'm gonna take the intercooler back off and I'm just gonna go through everything again and check for any leaks. The tuner thinks it's leaking still, and it must be because, yeah, clean the map sensor, flash the new map, still reading super rich. And my AF correction and AF learning are still not reading the right percentages, so it must be a leak. Because if you think about it, if the MAF sensor is thinking that there's a certain amount of air coming through, so it's telling the ECU to then deliver a certain amount of fuel, but we're actually losing some of that air, then we're gonna be over fueling. So I think that is what's happening. All right, so I have the intercooler off. I'm gonna remove this hose. I just gotta look at all these connections right here. Clean up the surfaces. I just don't think this could be leaking, but I don't really know where else it could be from. So I just really wanna inspect it well. All right guys, so check it. I did take the hose off of the turbo inlet right here where it connects to the bypass valve, basically. This guy right here, hooked to the bypass valve. It didn't look like it was all the way seated, but even still, I don't know if it could have been leaking. It's possible. I'm gonna try to get a better seal on that and clamp it down really well. So honestly guys, I don't really know if this was the culprit. As you can see, this stuff's super clean. I have not taken this off since I bought it. It's only a year old. This came on here already clamped down. Everything was super tight. It looked like a solid fit. I've been running it for like a year. I don't know how this could be what's causing the leak, but tuner told me to go through it, check it, make sure. So I'm doing that, doing my due diligence. Let's get it clamped back on and throw it back in and try it. So I'm going to show you a little piece of the struggle here with these top mounts. So see that little gap there between the black part of the turbo right here and that silver color? Well, this edge of the hose needs to like meet up against that if you want to make sure that you're getting a good seal. It's hard to get it past this hose on the AOS. So you just got to keep working it and then make sure that you have the clamp all the way up and over. Right here I can feel the edge of the turbo. You just need to make sure that this is seated really well all the way around and clamp down super tight so you don't get any leaks through there. And that is why people hate sticking with these top mounts, because it makes these a pain in the ass to work on. Like if you're at the track or something like that and you have an issue and you got to take this thing off, you need to be quick about it so you can get back out there and try and get some try and improve your lap times or whatever. This can just set you back, man. It's like you're just constantly fighting with this thing. I've come up with a pretty good system of actually like working with these and getting them on without having to struggle too much, but it still takes time. When you have a front mount, you don't have to deal with any of this crap. Like you can access a lot of stuff in here and you don't have this thing in the way. You don't have to worry about moving it. There's no gap anymore That thing is really tight on that hose. Hopefully it was just that clamp. I was having trouble even getting it to tighten. Like it was all worn out. So yeah, I'm gonna finish buttoning this up, and fingers crossed we are not idling rich. All right, moment of truth. They're dropping, they're dropping, they're dropping. They're coming back up. Still way too rich. God damn, dude. Oh, maybe? 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 I don't know. Still looking okay. I'm gonna let it idle for a minute. I'm gonna go grab the laptop so we can redo those logs. All right, guys, so we finally figured out our fueling issues at idle. Basically, my dumbass did not set the fuel pressure regulator correctly. It also could be that my alternator is on its last leg. But ultimately, I just didn't set the fuel pressure regulator correctly. I'm gonna show you real quick what the tuner kind of walked me through again. Hopefully it's informative for you. We have our FPR right here. We have a vacuum line coming off of it, and it hooks into the bypass valve. So, in order to set that, if you look at it right now, it's sitting right around 35 PSI, which is what you should be at when it's at vacuum, because when you set it, you take this line off, you cap the end of this, make sure that this is sealed as well. You let the car idle. You want to make sure that it's warmed up. After it's idled for a little bit, then you want to set your fuel pressure to 43.5. Then you can hook this vacuum line back up the way you see right here, from the fuel pressure regulator to the bypass valve. And then, because it's in vacuum, you will see a slight decrease in the amount of fuel pressure, which is normal. That's what you want. So my fuel pressure was way too high, because when this line was connected, it was rating 43.5. So I was dumping way more fuel into the system than I really needed to, because the pressure was set too high. That was my bad. So that was the issue. He sent me a revision just now. So we are going to go out and do our first wide open throttle pull in third gear, and keep our fingers crossed that we don't run lean and blow up this engine. Make sure our boost lines are still intact. We are so our first third gear pull success. Felt pretty good, but I wasn't really focusing on the car. I think we'll wrap this video here, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this content and you want to see this thing get fully tuned and do more wide open throttle pulls, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel so you can see us finish this build. It's a long ways out. We're just doing the tuning now, but I got a lot of plans for this thing. So until next time, peace out.